8. King, monarch, ruler. Allow me to introduce myself, said the giant red beast. My name is Hades. We all knew who he was. We had heard about him from the Valkyries and read about him in Dana's overstuffed book. We had probably known about him since we were small. Every mythology had a death king, and Hades was a mighty one. You must be tired from your long and, no doubt, strange journey, Hades said. Take a rest. Here, by me. He patted the arms of his giant throne. Come sit. At every word, mist rose from his mouth like breath in the winter. Only it wasn't human breath, it was smoke, thick and gray and smelling of death. Why so standoffish? He asked, his red armor gleaming. We didn't move. We were too scared. But I managed to cough out a few words. She's here, I said. Dana Runson. Hades slapped his knees and roared with laughter. Getting right to the point. His laughter ended as suddenly as it began. His smile died. He stared from one to the other of us in terrifying silence. John and Sydney took up their usual position behind me. I could hear them breathing. It felt good to have them that close. I gripped the lyre tightly, and its strings pressed into my arms. I had no idea if it would work on Hades, as the legend said it had for Orpheus. I was no Orpheus, and that scared me even more. But we had no choice. We came for one reason. Dana Runson, I said, we want her back. This time, Hades put on a sad face. And she's here, you say? Well, that is too bad. He paused to summon one of the hooded shapes. It drifted over to the throne, and Hades leaned down as it whispered into his ear. He listened, then waved the shape away. Was this Dana Runson young? I know it hurts you humans when your friends die young. She didn't die, Sydney said, staring up at Hades. We're pretty sure you took her. I was glad she said it, so I didn't have to. Hades turned as black as the river we had just crossed. He allowed himself to look at the lyre for the first time. I see you've got Orpheus's old noisemaker. I won't ask you where you found it. It's the real one, said John. Oh, I know it is, said Hades. Do you have any idea of the power it possesses? I swallowed. We're here, aren't we? Hades' eyes narrowed. Except that it's far easier to enter my underworld than it is to leave it. In fact, in the whole history of my kingdom, only a few ever made the return journey. The entrances to the underworld are many. The exits are few. You've been lucky enough to find an opening that is both. Yet, this is the underworld. It's like the name. Your friend has gone under. She's lost to you. It felt like my heart was trying to beat its way up my throat. Dana isn't lost. She was kidnapped. She shouldn't be here. Kidnapped! Hades boomed, standing his full terrifying height. I run a tidy ship, little humans. If someone has fooled with the entrances and exits of my world, I shall discover it. If anyone has violated my laws, I shall take action. His words echoed around and around the arena. When they finally drifted away, Sydney raised her hand. Sir, the Valkyries told us something was going on, and we saw a wolf, Fenrir. Grrr, grrr, grrr. Several animals growled behind the giant throne. Hades looked down suddenly and sat again. Oh, did the dogs hear a name they didn't like? He said. Fenrir is not here, my little friends. Come out, come out. A hideous black-furred head emerged from the darkness behind the throne. It was the size of a garbage can. A second head swung out after it, its fur silver white. A third ugly head lolled between the first two, nearly furless, with swollen eyes, its red snout battered and scarred. The heads were connected. Cerberus, Sydney whispered, tapping the cover of Dana's book. He's in here too. The three-headed dog. The lunch ladies said to look out for 3, 50, and 100. Could this be the three? Hades gave us a cold grin. I call the poor middle one Anger because the other two take his food. This makes him lean and hungry. Beware all three of them, but most of all, beware Anger. He is slow to eat but quick to fight. I couldn't believe I was standing in the underworld talking to Hades. I couldn't believe I was standing in front of his three-headed dog. I couldn't believe I was standing. Then I remembered Miss Hilda's question. You fight for what's right, don't you? Dana, I repeated. We want to bring her home. We have to. Now. Hades looked directly at me with his flaming eyes. If your friend was brought here illegally, I will know it soon. In the meantime, a little bargain. I remember Dana's words. Beware, Hades bargains. Hades rolled an object nearly as tall as himself from the shadows. It was an ancient hourglass. Black sand poured from the top into the bottom. He tapped the glass and stared at me. I tried to hold his gaze. I'll let you take your friend back, but there are rules. You have to find her first. You have the lyre. It worked for Orpheus, more or less. He looked off into the distance. Your friend is not far, being held like all newcomers. There's a plain, a big mud hill, a tower. You have an hour to find her. Let's see what you're made of. So this is a test, John said. Hades' eyes burned white. Everything is a test. The question is, have you studied? Now go, go, go! Suddenly the arena erupted with angry voices. Go, go! Chanted the millions of hooded figures all around us. Their voices roared louder and louder as their bony hands pointed beyond the arena. Cerberus's three heads growled at us and strained at their leashes while Hades summoned more hooded shapes to him, his face grim. We had no choice. Shadows fell over us like lead helmets as we entered the darkness behind Hades' throne.